All right, everybody, we're just going to bring you up to speed on our next segment. It's all about critical response. As a matter of fact, it's the city's C.I.R.T team, and it stands for Critical Incidents Response Team. Now, moving on, we're going to let you know that Brooklyn's C.I.R.T team is made up primarily of local clergy, but there are about 46 folks who are in there from several different walks of lives, but it is a volunteer-based service, and it's all free. Moving on, we're going to let you know that they help restore mental and spiritual health after a bad incident happens, and they offer support that's real. They'll show up in court with you. They'll help you do all of the things that you need to do to get your life back together spiritually and practically, from going to funeral homes to even helping identify bodies if you got to go to the morgue. To sum it up, they're the people you never want to meet, but you're very happy to know when you're in a time of need. Back to Greg.
Today we have representatives from the religious community who will share their experience as City C.I.R.T volunteers, specifically in Brownsville and East New York. We welcome to BK Live the co-founders of C.I.R.T in Action, a nonprofit group that's taking action on the ground in their own neighborhood. First, we have Bishop Willie Billips, who serves at the Faith, Hope, and Charity House of God. Welcome, Bishop. Thank you very much for being on BK Live.
God bless you. Thank you for having us.
And Pastor Daniel Maldonado of La Casa, the House of the Gospel Church. Thank you both very much for being on BK Live.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Now, C.I.R.T was just founded in December, so it's a fairly new sort of official organization. What were your experiences like working in the communities that came about to developing C.I.R.T?
Well, experiences working, just being in the community, seeing families in crisis and things happening to families, and it seemed like no one really there to kind of help the family through the entire process, from first the incident itself and then walking them through, different areas.
Well, Pastor Maldonado, we know that you guys started in December of last year, but you've been doing this work for a very long time. It's not something you just thought of a month ago.
Quite a while. Actually, we were organized in 2009, the summer of 2009, and basically this past December, we just officially became a working group and started to make our presence known officially within the community.
So what can you give us as an example of something that maybe you've responded to in the past couple of years? Bishop?
Okay, one of the big things that always kind of stick out in my mind is the fact a child being assassinated while the father was bringing the child, from one home to another, and seeing that experience and have to take that family through the process from identifying the body, meeting them at the hospital. So those are one of the things that really holds fast into my mind every time I'm out in the street.
Yeah. It's nothing you could ever prepare for, and then you're thrown into these things, and everything has such a sense of immediacy. You got to do it.
And actually, yesterday we had what we call a double header. We were responding to a Brookdale Hospital of an incident where there were some individuals that were shot in some type of altercation, and while responding to that incident at the hospital, we came across another incident in the emergency room where a family had just lost the father of the home, and it was total chaos, but we were there to bring some type of sense to the senseless, some clarity in the midst of the chaos. Yeah. And we were able to provide a presence and prayer with the family, and afterwards they felt a lot better, and they were able to actually grasp the situation and to move on with what needed to be done in the days to come.
So how specifically does C.I.R.T kind of deal with these situations? In other words, what are the specifics of bringing sense to the senseless, as you put it?
Actually, like I said, many people in the midst of crisis and chaos, they don't know how to think, they don't know what to say, they don't know how to react. And 9 times out of 10 is just being there with someone, putting your hand on their shoulder and telling them, listen, you're going to get through this, and offering some prayer for the family, lifting them up, before God, so that He can restore some type of sense to the situation and ultimately peace.
So how does the call come through? Tell us what your relationship is like with the NYPD.
Well, the calls, basically, we hear the calls through, we have scanners where we know exactly what's happening at that area, that time, right? So we're able to get there and help the families, through the situations right at that moment. We also have a very, very good relationship with the NYPD, a very good relationship that goes back quite a few years as well. But we have a good friend, Chief Jeff Madry, I just have to mention him. He's the head of Brooklyn North, and he's an expert leader in the community, and the partnership with them are just great. So it works good.
What are the sort of ranges of reactions you get from the community when you intervene to help these people in traumatic situations?
Well, they're happy to see us because they know that sometimes we have to act as the voice for the voiceless. Many times the interaction between the community and the police department is not the best at times, but when they see our presence, they know that things can happen and that we can bring both parties to the table and amicably talk about things that are going on with the situation.
All right, well, we're not trying to make anyone go to any side or have a revival at any moment.
No,
but
not at all.
but I want you to speak
Not
to
at all.
the fact that people may need some spiritual counseling, and it's something that gets neglected sometimes in the rush of you have to get to the hospital, you might have to go to a funeral, and people don't take that time at that critical moment, and it catches up to you eventually.
It does.
I assume.
Yes.
Well, we might not be able to prevent a critical incident, but we can surely mitigate it and provide some type of resources, spiritual, moral, or otherwise. If we see something that is beyond our range of capabilities, we have a cadre of individuals who are professional responders. And we're teamed up also with Brookdale Hospital, and we can refer those individuals if they need
Who's on
some.
your squad? Who are the other 40-something folks that help make up New York City C.I.R.T?
Oh, we've got an array of people. We've got everything from school teachers to the single mother with her own children. We have, the community, it's just made up of the community, and we're really excited about that. Just having the community involved and not just looking at it, just these people here, just the entire neighborhood is involved. So we're excited about that.
You mentioned those neighborhoods. It's not just East New York and Brownsville. Where else does CIRT work?
We've been all over the city. Honestly, we've been all over the city, different boroughs. When there's a critical incident and, we feel that we can get there, we need to help them people, we go wherever we need to go just to serve. It's all about serving and looking out for the people and helping the people through some rough times.
I'm curious, given your insight into these traumatic incidents that go on, not just in Brooklyn, but throughout the 5 boroughs, what are your thoughts, if any, on how, as a community, we can start to come together to sort of prevent these incidents from happening in the first place?
Getting people together and just talking, just a conversation, just bringing people together. That's the biggest thing. So many times we see this neighborhood and that neighborhood, or this group and that group, just bringing people together ahead of time. It makes a very big difference, and that's why we do that. We believe in doing it, especially, unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff going on with gangs. We believe in bringing the gang members and the gang leaders. You got to get the top. If you get the top people together, things work out. So you try to do some prevention work. Then we won't have to respond to some of these critical incidents.
So how does someone become CIRT certified? If you have something inside of you that you want to share and really be one of these FEMA for the soul folks?
Well, we have a website, CIRTinaction.org, and I believe there's the phone number that was handed out to you. So if anyone is interested, like I said, it's not just open to the clergy or any specific individual, race, creed, color, or religion. It's open to anyone who wants to be a catalyst for change in their community, and we're there to help.
So
CIRTinaction.org.
CIRTinaction.org. To just go back to the beginning before we end even, I wanted to know when you felt like, okay, this is an idea that we have to amplify. This is bigger than me just as a bishop and speaking to someone, that we have something here that we can march out and it can help the community.
I think it really goes back to when I had a nephew that was involved in gang activity and he wanted to kind of get away from that lifestyle. I think that played, I really realized that we can do something, especially when I realized that we can get the leaders together and talk with the leaders and
The gang
the
leaders
gang leaders
themselves.
itself was very,
On a
very
neutral
important.
ground, in a
neutral,
spiritual
came and got them
context.
into the church, sat down, and no one was a tough guy or tough girl until they had to go back outside the door. Then you see the transform, they turn
we're
back
back
into I'm the
on.
tough guy.
Yeah.
So how does that experience with your nephew directly relate to something you may carry out this week with the family you're just meeting?
Well, I mean, just in general, as far as my nephew is concerned, again, it helped break a lot of the barrier of the gang and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's very important. I mean, those type of things are just very important. I don't know if I answered your question along those lines, but that's very, very important. The gangs is big, and I mean, that's something you just can't ignore, that it's something else. It stems from a lot. Even some of the parents that came and joined the CIRT or that's involved with the CIRT, they had children that were involved in that life, and so we see a big change.
Do you envision a day when an organization like your own dramatically is able to cut back on all the violence that's currently happening in the city?
Well, like I said earlier, we might not be able to prevent a critical incident, but we'll be able to mitigate them. And I think we're in for the long haul here, and we're just at the tip of the iceberg with this. So we're trying to get out to the media and present this project. And hopefully in the near future, every borough, every city in our country will have some type of CIRT program that they can be on the ready at a moment's notice to respond to the call and help our communities, which are direly in need.
Is anyone else doing this work across anywhere in the nation? Do you guys have any sort of brothers out there in arms who are working in different parts of the country?
Well, I'm pretty sure they are, but at this point we haven't heard of anyone. But hopefully after the airing of this show, they'll be calling us, so that's something to look forward to.
Can I just say one quick thing? I seen a picture here I just wanted to touch right quick. It was very important. This picture here where you see us addressing the roll calls in the precincts, very important, key, because of the fact of talking to the officers before they go out in the street, letting them know that we're there as well with you, we're partnering with you. And a lot of the officers never worked in neighborhoods, in black or Hispanic neighborhoods. So when they come into a neighborhood like this, they only know what they've seen on TV or videos. That's firsthand information. Is great. Yeah. CIRT is all over the place. It's a blessing.
We want to thank you very much for being here. Thank you for the good work that you're doing, and wish you the best as you continue to grow. Would you like to give out your website again, or any?
Yes, it's CIRTinaction.org. Anyone with a web browser can easily find us. And you can peruse the website, and you'll find some very useful and helpful information. Also, there's contact information there that you can use. Drop us an email. We'll get right back to you.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate you.
No, thank you for what you do, and thank you for being on BK Live.
Great. Thank you.